We will have Lady Pelvic pick her favorite question, and we'll answer it. Maybe another one as well. But yes, Space Schumann from Discord. He asks...
Or is it Shaman?
Shaman?
Space Shaman?
He always, like, when someone comes in, like, he says, welcome, Schumann, like, mispronouncing human. So I don't know what he's trying to do there.
I don't know.
It could be Shaman. Anyways,
I don't know.
He asks, in Wind Waker's development, they cut some content to save some time. Assuming there would be more sages to power the Master Sword, what would the Lost Dungeon themes have been? For example, currently have one with a crypt theme and one with a wind theme. I would give at least 2 more. Yeah, there was the fire island in Wind Waker, and then there was the ice island. They were kind of, you had to do one right after the other. Those were meant to be full dungeons, but just like in Ocarina of Time, they cut down the full ice dungeon to be like just the ice cavern. But in Wind Waker, I think they delayed the game, but then they ended up like rushing it out. So even though they delayed it, they weren't able to get everything that they were needing, and instead of delaying it again, they just released it as best as they could. A lot of people thought Wind Waker HD would have like the actual dungeons and stuff, but it didn't. But yeah, like there was supposed to be the big fire dungeon, which there's already kind of a fire dungeon, and the Earth Temple. I think it was the Earth Temple.
Dragon Roost
Islands. Dragon Roost Cavern.
Dragon Roost Cavern.
Yeah, so the other one was supposed to be the ice one. I think the mini dungeon that was the crypt was supposed to be a callback for the Shadow Temple, but maybe they just included those elements that was supposed to be in that dungeon into... Was it the Tower of the Gods or like the Earth Temple? What was it?
That was the Earth Temple. You talking about with the mirrors?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the Earth Temple. Yeah, because the homegirl had... Yeah, it's the Earth.
Yeah, so
the mirror shield.
To me, the Earth Temple looked like it was a mix of 2 different things. Like, they had like one aesthetic, and then it had like the dark, gloomy aesthetic as well. And I thought that it felt like maybe they were thinking of something similar to the Shadow Temple and Ocarina of Time, but they weren't able to make the full dungeon, but they didn't want to get rid of all of the stuff they made, so they just combined it in with another dungeon. Same thing with the Wind Temple. There was the second dungeon in the game, like the forest-themed dungeon, when you have to use the Korok to fly around. There's a lot of wind puzzles in that game, so maybe that was supposed to be a forest dungeon, like just a forest dungeon, and then similar to the Forest Temple in Ocarina of Time, but then they had the Wind Temple, and they combined those elements as well. So, yeah. The Forest Temple in Ocarina of Time, for those who don't know, a quick fact, it was originally supposed to be a wind temple as well, because the medallion for it looks like wind. And then when you get to Ganon's castle, instead of Ganon's castle has the different segments to where you have to like save the different sages or whatever it is, and the forest segment is all wind puzzles. So like they think that was left over from the actual dungeon. But anyways, just random stuff.
Yeah, same about the ice cavern. The water medallion was supposed to be ice themed originally.
Yeah,
but they were gonna have an ice dungeon, and then that remnant is also left in Ganon's castle. So
yeah.
Yeah.
But what about you? What did you think of Wind Waker's like cut dungeons? Did you think it was odd when you got to those islands and it was just like
those two? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
I thought I did think that. I was like, wow, this was like significantly easier. Like, okay. I mean, okay, but it was just weird because Zelda's supposed to have like a lot of dungeons, you know? Like that's like part of like, in my opinion, like part of the fun. So I thought it was kind of weird. But what Wind Waker lacked in like dungeons, I had so much fun exploring. I know a lot of people like bitched about the Triforce finding thing. I didn't mind it because that just led me to like different islands and like around the world, you know? So
Thank you.
I was about it. I was like, oh my
Honestly,
god.
Like, I feel like I'm the only person that didn't hate that part of the game. And I'm like, no, it's fun because you go around the world and I can find all the secrets I missed and everything. And
Okay, great. We're friends.
We are BFFs. Awesome. Jesse, sorry, I'm replacing you on the podcast. It's gonna be me and Paul.
That's fine. They already said they wanted you and Lexi, so. I think they just want me replaced with.
So, but yeah.
Just kidding. We love you.
I do. I mean, like, well, yes, it was cut short, but like I said, I really think it made up and just exploring the world and finding all the secrets, finding like a giant like octopus, like, you know, with the whirlpool, kind of the Great Fairy island, the ice and fire caverns, or like kind of that whole mesh of island. It was just fun to do. Like, I thought it was fun finding like the Spleesh guy who's like Spleesh.
Oh yeah.
Kaboom! Anyone remember that, or am I just crazy?
Oh, yeah.
No, it was the mini game.
You have to play pretty bad. It was just fun. Yeah, it just made me happy. But so I guess to answer the question, I mean, more temples would have been nice. I'm not gonna say no to more temples, more dungeons, but I wasn't mad. So.
Yeah, the thing is, at the time, I just because even in Ocarina of Time, I knew that there was like the ice cavern. I just thought like, oh, it's a mini dungeon similar to the bottom of the well. So I didn't think of it as, or even the Gerudo's hideout or whatever it was called was like a huge mini dungeon. Yeah. So there was a bunch of, there was already a bunch of mini dungeons that were designed to be mini dungeons in the game. So whenever I went to the ice cavern in Ocarina of Time, I wasn't thinking, oh, this feels like it was cut down from a larger dungeon. I just thought this feels like a typical mini dungeon. So whenever I got to Wind Waker and I seen like there was the two islands, like the fire island, the ice island, and like you just had to do like one quick puzzle on each and then it was done. I didn't think that it was lacking anything or that they took away dungeons. I just thought that was what it was supposed to be until later whenever I was reading interviews and stuff where they talked about cutting out some of the dungeons. I did think that it seemed like it was kind of lacking in the number of dungeons, because you go to Ocarina of Time, which has like 10 actual dungeons and then a few mini dungeons. Twilight Princess has like 12 actual dungeons. But then, like, Majora's Mask only had the 4 main dungeons, so Wind Waker still had more than Majora's Mask. But compared to the other games, Wind Waker does seem like it was cut short on dungeons, but it didn't feel out of place for me. It just felt like that's what their intentions was. So.
Yeah, I always felt like...
You thought that was cut on dungeon. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, we are, but it's okay. I always felt like one place where the dungeon should have been was on Great Fish Isles. You kind of show up there, and then Jaboon is missing, and then you end up finding him on Outset Island. But Great Fish Isles is... it's sort of like at the spot in the game where that third dungeon should be.
I'm gonna look
And what's
it up.
interesting also is that on the map of Wind Waker, there's the 3 islands that form, if you like basically draw like lines between them, and then there's the 3 islands that have the goddess statues where you put the pearls on, and you draw lines between them. It forms a Triforce, and those the locations of those outside 3 dungeons are Dragon Roost Island, where the first dungeon, Dragon Roost Cavern, is, where the Great Deku Tree, I can't remember the name of the island itself, but what is basically the forest island where you do that second dungeon is, and then the third point is Great Fish Isles. So like even then it's like it feels like that third dungeon should be there.
On
right? Because you're
Zelda
connecting the 3
Wiki,
dungeons.
on Zelda Wiki it mentions that they believe that it was supposed to be the home of one of the dungeons as well.
Yes!
For the goddess Pearl.
I'm not the only one.
So
yeah, so it just feels like that's where you should have gone to get the third dungeon to get that third goddess Pearl. But you just kind of find him hanging out on Outside Island instead, and he just kind of gives it to you.
So Zelda, one of the Zelda wikis says, scrapped dungeon theory, and then it has theory warning. It has been speculated that Great Fish Isle was the original location of the Wind Waker's supposed third Goddess Pearl dungeon because it was the home of Jabun, the keeper of Nehru's Pearl, since the Great Deku Tree safeguarded Farore's Pearl and the Sky Dragon Valu protected Din's Pearl. It only makes sense for the home of Jabun to exist in a temple-bound place, so he too can supervise the care and safeguarding of Nehru's Pearl. However, this theory has not been confirmed by Nintendo and must therefore be taken as mere fan speculation. The evidence in favor of this is as follows. There are interviews where the creators say that some dungeons were left out of the final game. Great Fish Isle, Fire Mountain, and Ice Ring Isle are marked on the full map of the Great Sea, where the only other islands that are marked are the plot important ones. I can barely read that.
So those were speculated to all be dungeons then.
Yeah. When connected by lines, Dragon Roost Island, Forest Haven, and Great Fish Isle form a large triangle. The three triangle isles, when connected by lines, create smaller triangles attached to the larger ones. The entire image created is that of the Triforce. And the Tower of the Gods exists in the center of the symbol. An image of this can be found on the pirate ship in Tetra's quarters. This adds further evidence to this theory that both Forest Haven and Dragon Roost Island are home to temples. So I guess, everything points towards that was where the dungeon was. It shows a little example of the map with the Goddess Tower right in the middle, and then all of the other islands making up the Triforce. So,
I mean, it makes
very
sense.
Interesting.
I always felt like that's where maybe a water-themed dungeon should have been. You know, because usually in Zelda games you get your first 3 dungeons often, not always, but often are like a forest themed dungeon, a fire themed dungeon, and a water themed dungeon. And so, you know, in Twilight Princess you have the Forest Temple, Goron Mines, and Lake Bed Temple. Ocarina of Time you've got Great Deku Trees inside of him, and then instead of Jabu Jabu, and there's Dodongo's Cavern where you're inside a giant dead Dodongo, so I'm seeing a theme here suddenly. And then in Wind Waker you've got, you know, Dragon Roost Cavern, which is a fire themed, and then you've got Forest Haven, which, thank you for reminding me what the name of that island is, which is your forest themed dungeon, and then there's no real water themed dungeon in the game. So it just felt like that was supposed to be there, and it just wasn't. So yeah, it's just my theory.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I feel like things were combined, like the water temple, especially in Wind Waker. I think that was part of the Temple of the Gods, where there was a lot of water. So but I do feel like a lot of things were just combined. So I definitely hear you in that.
Yeah, there was even in Skyward Sword there was the Ancient Cistern dungeon, which was half water temple, half shadow temple, because it has everything above ground is water-based puzzles, or sort of water-based puzzles, and then everything below is the Living Dead, basically, with zombie bokoblins and other stuff. But Lady Pelvic, for our final question, go through the live chat and pick out whatever you think.
The best question.
Yes.
Or the funniest question.
Yeah, and everyone else.
The questioniest question.
The question.
Where did Lady Pelvic get that Majora's Mask poster behind her? At a convention.
Not that one.
That's not the question.
That one.
No. Let's see. RPG elements in OVA. What would be your perfect OVA? I feel like we answered that one by Knock Fox. That was a pretty good one, but let's see. What do you think Link's move should be the next? Sir.
What's the question?
Favorite snowboarding part? No, I'm just we're going to favorite snowboarding.
Favorite snowboarding minigame?
That's the only snow. No, not minigame. Just favorite snowboarding game.
Come on, guys, give us.
I mean, that's not
give us a good question.
That's why they called me sadistic, because I said their questions were bad last week.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we did this on the last week for the final question, and nobody was asking good questions. It was they were just asking
So I was sorry guys, give me better questions. They're why is he sadistic?
Yes, people in the chat, give us a really good question to go out on.
Please don't hate us as well. We love you guys for watching.
I feel like we answered this one. Like, I like this question, but I feel like we hit this one before. From Knockbox.
What did he say?
If they made a new Zelda game with RPG elements and open world like Breath of the Wild, what would be your perfect open world RPG Zelda? I felt like we kind of went if we kind of took another Zelda game and then, you know, like Breath of the Wild but with like a Majora's Mask skin is pretty much what I need in my life. That or Link's Awakening. Let's see.
I think they're purposefully getting bad questions.
They're messing with us now.
I like that. What are your thoughts on Doritos? If you could pick a number 1 through 10, what would you
better
pick?
after you've had a few things to drink. You've had a few drinks, and then Doritos. Everything that ends in O's is better. Burritos, taquitos, Doritos, like all of it is better after you've had if you've had a few drinks in you.
Wait, what time is it?
Okay.
So
here we go. It's almost noon, 12. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 11:30 almost. So, well, okay, I found one that I like. So, from Nikolai Handkerchief. So, what would you like to see in the next Zelda game beside old dungeon design? Because everyone says that.
Yeah, that's what everybody says.
Yeah. In fact, we said that too.
I would like to see more. I would like to see more character development. That's what I want to see, because I feel like a Breath of the Wild, one of my criticisms of that, you see it's lovable, so likable, everyone loves Urbosa, everyone loves Mipha, everyone for some reason likes that shit, whatever. People
and nobody likes Rivali.
So fast. Rivali and I have a love-hate relationship. I like every time he said something snarky, I like snarky back to my TV, like fuck you. Like I'm so mad at him. But
there's
love-hate relationship.
There's a Patreon supporter in our Discord who we talked about who our favorite champions were in one of the videos and who like the one that we liked the least. And I said something along the lines of like, I don't think anyone even likes Rivali. And then there's a bunch of people that commented that was like, did you know like Luke, who's also part of a group of YouTubers that I'm in, the Chamber of Sages, Luke Zelda Master, if you know who he is, he does a lot of Zelda Let's Plays. But apparently he said that his favorite champion was Rivali, so there's a lot of people that was commenting like, oh, Zelda Master loves Rivali. And then there was one of the people in the Discord chats changed her name to Rivali's Boo. To like because she was such a fan, and to kind of pick on her for it, I changed her name to Ravioli instead of Rivali.
Yeah, she changed it back, and then I changed it back to Ravioli. I changed it instead of Rivali Boo. I changed it to Ravioli for you.
Oh my god, like Rivali, I have a love-hate relationship. I can't hate him. He's so. But back to the question.
Is it
something I would
he's
like
the most skilled archer among even all
he's not.
No.
No.
Duo Master in the chat.
No,
said...
I think I just like he's just sassy. So, but going back to what Nikolai asked though, like best old dungeon design, because everyone says that, like one thing to improve. I would just want more interactions with the characters. I would like characters to be able to like travel with you, so it's not just Link and Link alone. I think it'd be cool to have like a companion, you know, to bring along Sidon, like first, and like have Sidon maybe like only available in the Zora region, like so he can't, you know, he's Prince, he has to be around the Zora people, whatever, so he can't leave his people, but he can still travel in his zone. Same thing, and just like, and it'd be great to have like banter between them. So like, if Link does an awesome attack, Sidon's like, "Good job, chap," or whatever the hell Sidon would say. I don't really know. Or maybe they start making out or something, because I'm all about that. But anyways,
Sidon looks at Link like because his sister was like in love with Link. I think he views Link as like the cool older, like his sister's older cool boyfriend that he wants to be like. Like that's the relationship between Sidon and Link.
Oh yeah, he believes.
No, I think Sidon wants Link for himself. It's fine. Don't worry about that.
It's the family trait. They know what they like. They have a type in the Zora royal family there. But you know, we do see snippets of that when you're going to attack the divine beasts. You know, like we get a little bit of a taste of what you just described, where you know when you do an attack and then they kind of they banter along with you. And those were some of my favorite parts of the game. I want more of that.
Thank you. Okay, see, we are great. We are on the
same page.
Oh, it's great. So I would like more of that.
Yeah.
I would like to see
it'd be a great
a living world, whereas in Breath of the Wild, we talked about this earlier, all of the towns, villages are kind of destroyed. The only ones that are left is like Kakariko Village and some of the others, Zora's Domain. But you see in the cutscenes from the past memories, you see what Hyrule Castle Town looked like when like the Guardians are attacking it and shooting the lasers. And it looked like this huge, beautiful town that I would have loved to explore, like you do in Ocarina of Time. When you go into Kakariko Village, you go into everyone's house, talk to everyone, and it makes it feel like it's an actual town. In Ocarina of Time, there was the back alley to Hyrule Castle Town where you could like help the woman find her dog and some of the other stuff.
You can also find a soldier who dies in front of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sweet.
Is this game rated E for everyone?
Yeah, that's like before you pull the Master Sword. But yeah, there's a bunch of...
Talk to him and...
Yeah, you talk to him and he like goes ... and dies.
Yeah, and then it's like, he's not moving anymore. That's what Navi says. He's not moving anymore.
Yeah, so...
It's like, ah!
The cool thing is, like, if there would have been... Because there was like dozens and dozens of different destroyed villages. If there would have been like a dozen destroyed villages and then a dozen that are actually alive and have people in it, and it wasn't just like Kakariko Village and then the little camps where you can like the horse stables or whatever. Because those were the only places that felt alive. So if there would have been just a lot more stuff, like don't give us Hyrule 100 years after it's been destroyed. Give us a Hyrule or something similar to Termina, to where like if you don't stop this from happening, it will be destroyed. That way you can still visit everything the way it was supposed to be. Because in Breath of the Wild, they still built what Hyrule Castletown looked like. They designed the hundreds of houses that you can see in Hyrule Castletown for those cutscenes, but you can't explore them. Even though they're there, they're created, someone could probably like hack the game to like put the models back into Hyrule Field, I guess, but like they exist.
But instead they give us Thomas the Train and Shrek.
Like the models and everything, like Nintendo put in the time to create Hyrule Castletown in the memories. You can't explore it, and it's one of the things that I disliked the most about the game, because it's only ruins in the game. So give us like a real live living city.
If the Mr. She Says who does Boundary Break ever watches this, this is your new mission, is to find, like, go into cutscenes and move the camera around and just, you know, I want to see more of Castletown. That's, you know, he's probably not going to watch this. He's a busy guy, but
that would be amazing.
But yeah, I think my choice would be, well, one thing kind of more to what you said, Pelvic, is when they revealed the champion amiibos, my thought was it was gonna work similar to like the Wolf Link amiibo, where you can have a companion.
Yeah, they called them companions in the trailer.
Yeah, I would love that. Like just to scan in my champion amiibos and have them tag along and fight with me. That would be so wicked. But you guys took the good answers. I want to pet the dogs.
Yeah, Duo Master says She Says has been on Nate's podcast. It could happen. So there's a lot of older videos you can go back and watch where She Says was on the channel, but after he passed like 100,000 subscribers, he got too famous to come back on. So
he's too busy now.
Yeah.
He's right before I came on the podcast.
Yeah. Please Lady Pelvic, once your YouTube channel blows up, don't forget about us.
No, you don't forget those who helped you up. So no, I'm very grateful to be here.
Yeah, well, I'm going with petting dogs, guys.
Petting dogs.
I want to. You can do a lot. You can feed the dogs in Breath of the Wild, and I love that. In Twilight Princess, you can. Sorry, in Breath of the Wild, the dogs you can feed them.
Can you play fetch with Wolf Link? Like, you can throw sticks and stuff, but, like, if you throw a stick or something,
I don't know, can you? I'm going to try it.
Will Wolf Link fetch after it and bring it back to you?
Will he?
I don't know. It seems like...
I'm going to try it.
like if you put down meat, Wolf Link will go to it and eat it.
Yeah,
so
he'll eat it.
If you throw a stick, it should be similar programming for him to like run after it and come back. Because that would be cool if like you're in the middle of a battle, your sword breaks, and then Wolf Link brings you another weapon, and you're like, oh, okay, I'll just use this. That would be cool.
In Mario Odyssey, you can play fetch with the dogs. You can't in Breath of the Wild with the dogs you find at the stables and stuff. But so I just want to. In Twilight Princess, you could pick up cats in the alley and pet them and stuff.
Nikolai,
I just want to love the animals.
Nikolai in the chat says Daniel is going places with those ideas.
Hell yeah! Like people, it doesn't matter how big your world is. You know, people just want to pet the dogs.
All right. So here's our final question. Retro gaming. Wait, what's it say? Hey Jesse, would you mind if I DM some? Knock Fox.
Oh, he's sending nudes.
Hi, Retro.
Head over.
Hi Retro. Send nudes.
Yeah. So Knock Fox. Go to Discord. There's a link in the description, and message me whatever you want to talk about on there. But our last question comes from Retro, which I'm going to change a little bit. He says, what would you think of a Breath of the Wild sequel or prequel? My question that I'm going to change it to is, which would you rather want? A Breath of the Wild prequel that either takes place the 100 years before Breath of the Wild when Link is on his initial journey and battling everything, or it could be a prequel that takes place during the first battle against Ganondorf, whenever the Divine Beasts are first created. And then the sequel obviously would just take place like maybe a year after Breath of the Wild, or 100 years, 20 years, like however long it would take. It doesn't really matter. You can decide. So it could be like Link right after Breath of the Wild, he and Zelda's trying to fix Hyrule, or it could be like, well, this place is saved, I'll head over here, and then he goes to Termina or like Koholint Island or like some other area. But yeah, would you rather want a sequel or prequel for Breath of the Wild?
Prequel, no contest. Prequel, hands down. I want to know how my husband died, okay, or almost lost his life. Like I feel like that'd be so interesting to be like have a swarm similar to how they did it in Skyward Sword, where there's like a swarm of boblins or boblikins or whatever that Girahim unleashed on you.
Oh yeah,
imagine like a swarm. Yeah, but imagine like a swarm of guardians, different types of guardians, the flying ones, the small ones, like with different weapons. I mean, I'm not even talking like the ones that were normally only limited, like restricted to temples, you know, the mini dungeons. They were outside, like just fighting a horde of those to get to Hyrule Castle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Seeing the tragedy take place, like literally have it essentially when the moon was falling in Majora's Mask, have the same like kind of demise be happening. You know, it wouldn't be as bad as the moon falling where it's just like instant KO, but literally you see towns getting like. I mean, I want this stuff dark. Like I want to see. Okay, maybe not this. You can't see someone being ripped in half, Guardian, but just like literally Guardian trampling these people. You see mothers like picking up their child and running and bolting and just trying for dear life to say, like, see the towns that were originally destroyed, they're there. Like you see them, you can go through them, you can go through these people. How you could see like the family photos of just random NPCs. You could see like make it like really touching, where like whole like personal. You know, oh my, that would be awesome. And then you see like also all the champions, like each. There would be like segments, like you see Urbosa die. Oh, make it dramatic. Yeah, see each champion. Now I'm getting into this. See, have each champion, watch them fall. If you see the battle between Rivali and Windblight Ganon, you know, taking place, and you see Rivali get his ass kicked. You see Mipha die. You like watch every one of their deaths. Like, hey, like, you can't do anything about it. It's a cutscene. You're just like, and I'm late, and then you run back. Like, I think that would be awesome.
Yeah,
if they gave me a I would pay.
The closest thing I can think to that is like in Ocarina of Time, when like you save the Deku Tree, but then he still ends up dying. It's like no matter what you do, you can't protect it. So there's something similar in Twilight Princess. After you collect all of the shards to make the mask or whatever, Zant comes and just kind of takes it away from you. So what was it? Ocarina of Time, you get the 3 spiritual stones. Ganondorf comes and gets the Triforce anyways, and then he kind of takes over Hyrule. So if it would be something like, I think that's the closest that Nintendo's ever came to something like that, to where no matter what you do, there's still bad stuff playing out as part of the story. To whereas most Zelda games, like, you beat the water temple and then the water comes back to the lake, or you beat the forest temple and then all of the monsters are gone from Kakiri Forest. There's not really been one to where it's like, no matter what you do, it doesn't stop the negative stuff. So to play a Zelda game to where it's like, no matter what you do, it's just getting worse and worse, even though you're doing what you're supposed to, would be really cool.
Yeah. And I
I'm sorry. You're so bad at this. Okay.
Every time.
Sorry. No, Nikolai Hankish also actually wrote something really awesome in the chat. We already know what happened 100 years ago through the memories. I would be okay with a prequel that takes place 10,000 years before, though, and have the origin of the Sheikah tech.
Oh, that would be cool.
I think that's also a cool idea. Don't get me wrong. I still want to play through the 100 years ago, because the memories, they're just that. You're not playing through it. You're just looking at a cutscene. I want to get personal with it. But I do think the Sheikah, the origin of the Sheikah tech would be a bomb. That was a very good comment. So, okay. Take the floor, Daniel. I'm done. I promise.
Daniel, you're taking us out on this. So be good.
I mentioned before, I think, as well. But yeah, I'm on the prequel side as well, because with the sequel, like, you've already got your resolution, right? So it's like, the only thing that could really happen is they're gonna rebuild Hyrule, and that's not really a fun Zelda game. So we want to, like, save Hyrule, not rebuild Hyrule. Otherwise, Link has to go somewhere else.
It'd be like Animal Crossing Hyrule Edition. You're just like building up your town.
That game. I'd play that game, but I'm on Team Prequel as well, and what I really want, I really like what you said about the game. The finale of the game is like your huge Guardian battle, and we see in that memory that Link, he was a freaking, like, he was Hala, like he took out tons of Guardians before they got him. And we see in one of the other memories, like, he took out a swarm of bokoblins and Lynels on Death Mountain, like a ton of them, with not even a shield to parry with, because that's like my go-to move when I'm fighting in Breath of the Wild. So like, he had like no shield, no bow, like just the Master Sword, and he did all of this. So yeah, that's where the game ends. I love that idea. You just get over. It's like you could have this final battle that like literally just goes as long as you survive, and like there's like it'll just keep going until you die. That's how it ends. I would love that. So your final battle could be like 5 seconds long, and you die right away, or you could play it out and draw it out and just see how many Guardians you could take out until you die, like Tetris.
That'd be pretty cool. Kind of like a challenge
and
there.
Going and going and building up. Yeah. Yeah, and it just goes, like, builds up more and more until you're eventually overrun and you die. But how I would like to see the game play out as well, other than assembling your team of champions, is I want to know how Link earned the Master Sword in this game. I've mentioned it before, but in every Zelda game, Link has to go through something, earn the Master Sword somehow, like through usually 3 dungeons. And this Link, we just see that he had the Master Sword, but it doesn't explain how he got it or where he found it or what he did to get it. He's just the Hylian that has the sword that seals the darkness, because he has it for some reason. So I love that game to start with. How did Link get the Master Sword? How did he earn it? And, you know, go from there. Then after that, he's got the Master Sword. We're building this team of champions because there's this prophecy. And then you have to go with Zelda and you assemble the team of champions, just like in the memories for the DLC. And then you accompany Zelda to all the different springs, and then those could be almost like your dungeons too, because getting to those areas in Breath of the Wild is not easy. Getting to the different springs are all pretty well protected, right? So, yeah, this could be basically Hela. This could be a very good prequel if they ever made it. I don't think they will. They're not going to. But
I don't think so either.
Dream game.
I don't think it's ever going to happen either. Really quick, Duo Master says, I mean, obviously towns would still be there, but terrain can't change that much in 100 years. He isn't familiar with Nintendo, to where Nintendo says that in every Zelda game, the reason that Lake Hylia and some of the other areas, like in Ocarina of Time, you have Lake Hylia, Twilight Princess, you have Lake Hylia, Breath of the Wild, you have Lake Hylia. It's the same location, but every single time it's located in a different spot on the map. It's changed. It's gotten bigger, shrunk, monuments, different aspects, like things that you would find there are very different. Kakariko Village, Hyrule Castle, they all go through the same thing where, like, in real life you would expect it, like, even if you go somewhere and come back 1,000 years later, like, there's castles and stuff that are that old. So it's like, you wouldn't expect too much of a difference, but Nintendo says from game to game they change it because if Hyrule was the same every single time, it would be boring. So the reason Lake Hylia is suddenly a lot bigger in Twilight Princess isn't due to anything like in lore, it's just they think it's more fun to have it different, which is why in one game like Kakariko Village is like east of Lake Hylia, but then in another game it's south, or like it just changes because Nintendo wants to. The only time we've revisited the same Hyrule was A Link Between Worlds and A Link to the Past. Like that was the same version of Hyrule.
Yep.
But yeah.
But I think that only happened because that game started as a remake of A Link to the Past, and then they just changed it over time. So, yeah.
All right, I guess Salsa Spartan says, "Make Hyrule great again." Hashtag. All right, so that brings us to the very end of the podcast. Thank you all for watching. If you want to help out the podcast or have your questions or topics take priority, head over to patreon.com/GameOverJesse. And Lady Pelvic, who are you and why should everybody care about you?
Oh, who I was like, these are really intense questions. Who am I? I'm a girl who sits in the room and plays video games all the time and then talks about it to a camera. So it's a very lonely life. No, but I review games, do top fives.
Do you ever have to deal with the people that's like, oh, girls can't be gamers?
No, like, I have not run into that. Honestly, I have a blessed fan base. Everyone's like really supportive, have just been very like, yo, you're awesome. You know what you're talking about. You don't try to use your body for views. You don't try too hard. Like, you're just you. You come off really natural. You have great screen presence. I'm not trying to like build myself up here. It's just like contrary to how that sounded. Though. But it was just nice to like,
use mine for. It doesn't really work. So. Yeah,
like everyone's just been really supportive of me. Yeah, I got. But yeah, so definitely check me out if you like me on this podcast.
Al in the chat says, is she single? We can play Nintendo games together.
Oh, yeah. Oh my goodness, as long as you're 18 and up.
Alright, so where can people find you? You already let us know what they can expect on your channel, so for the last time, if people are interested, could they find you on YouTube, Twitter, future Discord?
Yes, future Discord. No, for sure, YouTube is the best. Awesome. YouTube, Pelvic Gaming. On Twitter, I'm always on there. It's all connected to my phone. All notifications blow up. So, Lady Pelvic on Twitter. Facebook, it's Pelvic Gaming. Instagram, it's Lady Pelvic. It just kind of goes back and forth. So, I promise you. When you do look up Pelvic Gaming on reasons. So, find me.
All right. And how many subscribers do you have right now? Do you know?
I have like 5,482.
How did it feel for you when you first passed like 5,000 or 1,000?
Amazing. Amazing. I felt like I was going places. I was like, woo, look at me. I'm professional. You know?
Yeah. Like after every time I would pass.
It felt so good that people are sharing and commenting and
every time I pass a certain milestone, I'm always like, am I a real YouTuber now? Like when I first passed 5,000 or 10,000 or something. But yeah,
but
thank you.
Still no.
Yeah, I don't like the term YouTuber, because when I think of YouTuber, I think of like there's a lot of people that'll record different takes for their reaction videos, and then they'll post the one that they think they did the best in, or they'll, like, the example I always use is like someone will be live streaming playing Ocarina of Time, and that little trail that leads from Kokiri Forest to the Deku Tree where the 3 Deku Babas pop up, like they'll know it's coming. Like everyone knows that there's the Deku Babas there, but they'll be like, oh my god, what's that? It's attacking me. And then they'll be like screaming and yelling at the camera, and it's like, no, that's not how you really play games. Like the way you described, maybe you play games like that with scary games, but like
maybe. I actually do.
Typical, yeah, like,
that's not.
Typical people aren't going to be like screaming at the camera when they find a compass in a dungeon. Like no one gets excited about finding the compass. So that's why I don't like the term YouTuber, but that's just me.
No, in fact, oh, okay. Well, what would you, content creator?
I don't know what the right word would be. I just like say like I make YouTube videos, but I don't refer to myself as a YouTuber. So yeah. What about you, Daniel? Where can people find you if they want to date you and play Nintendo with you?
Well, if you want to date me, I'm off the market. Sorry, fellas, ladies, and others. You can follow me on Twitter at CaptBurgerson, though. I have a website that's still under construction, but you can go check it out anyways. It's burgersonmedia.com.
Where it's all about cheeseburger reviews.
It's not.
No.
I actually got a little excited. I'm a little upset it's not. Not gonna lie.
I talk about video games, but
how lame.
I'm just a Canadian boy who likes video games.
Okay, I have actually watched one cheeseburger review. When I think it was Burger King in Japan had the all black Whopper burger, to where like they had squid ink or something in the bun, so like the bun looked black. They had some weird black cheese and black burger and everything. So like that caught my attention enough to where when I seen IGN posted a video about it, I was like, this is interesting. An all black cheeseburger.
Wow.
Like, what does squid ink taste like? Why would someone put that?
I don't know.
Why would someone... Yeah,
I go with Burgerson not because I like burgers like just that much, but also I guess my last name is Ferguson, and I was introducing myself to someone, and then he misheard me. He thought I said Burgerson, and I just loved it. I was like Burgerson. I'm using that from now on, so it was a total mistake.
Duo Master, on you not doing cheeseburger reviews, I believe, said my disappointment is immeasurable and my day's ruined.
Oh, well, I mean, I'll consider starting, yes, but, I feel like just cheeseburgers is really limiting yourself. You've got to include all sorts of things, really.
Like chicken burgers and turkey burgers and steak burgers.
Burgers with 2 patties, burgers with bacon, whatever you want. The world is your
a triple Krabby Patty.
Exactly, whatever you want, man.
So good. Alright, we need to stop talking. I'm starving now. Like all this burger talk's actually making me hungry.
That's not what I make videos about. You can check out the videos I do work on at NSHG Films on YouTube, which is sort of a collab group between several people who post videos there. Myself included, and
you also
mostly
have
my website. I also host a podcast called the Highlands Games Cast with a good friend of mine, GameOverJesse.
We never use the name of the podcast though. Like we never actually say it.
Yeah, so. We don't. We did at the beginning. We just start calling it the podcast. So supposedly it's on iTunes. I think only one episode is. We've been really bad about that. Yep. I also edit videos sometimes for some people, and you can find things
I will start this. This will be like episode 2 that goes on iTunes. So I should really start doing that again.
Backdating them. Yeah, we've got some great Q&A segments, so just gotta just upload a whole bunch in one go. But yeah, anyways, you can just go on Jesse's Discord, message me, say, Daniel, I want to watch something you did. I want to listen to your sweet, sultry voice, and then I will message you back. And
what kind of burger do you recommend?
I would recommend a Super Metroid burger.
A Super Metroid burger? What?
Yes. Yeah, it's a little bit squishy.
I don't know about that.
It's larger than you expect, so.
Alright, well, thank you, Daniel, for co-hosting.
Thank you, Jesse, for co-hosting.
Yeah, thank you, Lady Pelvic, for coming on very last minute.
And for being my best friend.
Thank you. Yes. Friendship.
Yeah. And everybody watching, please go over and check out Pelvic Gaming, Lady Pelvic on Twitter, and she also has the second channel, the Let's Play channel as well. So go check that out as well. All right.
Yes.
And
please and thank you.
Yes, and with that, we're out. Give a final message for everyone to take us out, Lady Pelvic.
Oh.
Wait, where does the name Lady Pelvic come from?
Skyward Sword.
Where does that name come from? Sorry, I want to know.
That was such a good ending. Like, screw Groose.
I actually have.
Fine. All right.
I have a friend who's going to be on the podcast eventually. He was on an old interview that I had with him, but he used to work at Nintendo, and he was the one who came up with the name Groose for the character in Skyward Sword. So.
It's not the name I have a problem with. It's his look. Oh, God, he's so awful to look at.
Like,
he was hitting on Zelda when Link was trying to put on the moves. Like,
yeah, he reminds me of like Biff Tannen from Back to the Future.
Oh yeah, he's a total Biff.
Yeah.
But also, Zelda was the one putting the moves on Link. I'm just putting it out there. You watch that?
You're right.
Yeah.
Right.
She likey.
Yeah.
She did.
Yeah.
But,
so
okay, the name Lady Pelvic has nothing to do with gaming. It's just when I was younger, I wanted to be an archaeologist, and I really like the idea of uncovering bones. And I thought the pelvis was the most unique-looking bone ever.
It's like a butterfly.
It just kind of stuck with me. Yeah, it's this weird-looking shape, and like I also draw, so I always drew the pelvis.
You could probably come across like someone's fossilized pelvis and be like, hey, it's a giant fossilized monster butterfly. I don't know.
Something like that.
Yeah. All right.
Just remember, because if you're searching Lady Pelvic, really watch your searches.
That's literally it. Nothing exciting. Sorry.
All right. Well, again, thank you all for joining. Everyone, go check out Daniel's stuff. Check out my stuff if you want, since you're already here, and check out Lady Pelvic Gaming. Pelvic Gaming on YouTube, and then Lady Pelvic on Twitter, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. So there you go. And
thank you.
Yeah, Groose.
Goodbye.
Groose. Remember, Groose sucks.
Screw Groose.
Oh yeah, Groose sucks.
Boo. Boo on the Groose.